Welcome back, everybody. Haunted Beard here. Thank you for joining me today. Well, I wanted to bring you another tier list video. Just did my first one just a few videos ago. Got some pretty good feedback on it, and I really enjoyed doing it, so I figured let's do another one. I'm a huge fan of A24, so I figured why not do an A24 horror movie tier list. Haven't seen every single one of their horror movies, but I've seen the vast majority of them, and I threw in a few thrillers in there as well. So, here we go. Let's do it. Alright, so as you can see, the tiers are all-timer, amazing, good, okay, and yikes. And I'll just let you know right now, there's going to be a lot of stuff in the upper tiers here, because I'm a big fan of the majority of these. But let's do it. So first up, we got First Reformed, and this is one I'm going to put First Reformed in. I'm going to put First Reformed in amazing. It's quite a good film. The performance by Ethan Hawke is pretty fantastic, and I like kind of this is obviously more of a kind of a religious themed thriller than an outright horror movie, and I just thought it was really good. This one I just really enjoyed because it goes in some unexpected territory. I usually love kind of religious themed horror and thriller movies and stuff like that. Obviously, again, the performance by Ethan Hawke is great, and it reminded me too of some of Ingmar Bergman's movies, particularly Winter Light, with the story about the priest dealing with kind of a faith crisis and stuff like that. I just find, religious themed stories usually pretty thought-provoking. So, quite enjoyed First Reformed. Next up, we got Beau is Afraid, and I have covered this a lot lately, so I just did my review for it. I'm going to stick this one in amazing for right now, just because I've only seen it once. I think if I seen it again, it'd probably go up in the all-timer. But just because I've only seen it once, we're going to stick it there. But yeah, I'm not going to spend too much more time talking about this because I've just covered it a ton in my last couple videos. I did a full review and then I did an Ari Aster ranking video. So big fan of Beau is Afraid. I think it's pretty great. Next up is Blackcoat's Daughter, and I'm also going to put this one in amazing. I think this is a really underrated one. I really like I like the slow pacing of it. It's just very kind of creepy and eerie and mysterious, and I really like the story structure as well. And it's kind of a more restrained, subtle kind of horror film, but I really like it. I just like how it presents its story. I like the story structure. It's got a pretty nice little twist in it as well. So I dig Blackcoat's Daughter. Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. Let's see here. This one I think was close to my top 10 of last year. It's definitely between good and amazing. Let's see. Where are we gonna put it? Where are we gonna put it? I'll go with good. Nah, what the heck? I'll stick it in amazing. It's a pretty solid film, and I think the performances are great. I think that the way they kind of do a satire on the whole Gen Z thing works really well. I love just kind of the murder mystery whodunit setup. I think just some of the dialogue and stuff like that is pretty good, and it's just fun later on in the movie as the tension just rises and the gloves come off and these girls just start going at each other. It's pretty fun to watch, and I thought the kind of the twist ending was pretty well done, and so I liked it. Yeah. Next up, we're going Climax, Gaspar Noé. I'm going to put Climax in amazing as well. This is quite an experience. Gaspar Noé, I haven't seen all of his movies, but man, this guy is just in his own realm. He is like 1000% an auteur. Like, a Gaspar Noé movie when you see it. He is just a very distinct visual style. This thing is like almost literally an acid trip of a movie. Like, if an acid trip could be made into a movie, that would be this. I mean, all the main characters, somebody spikes the punch or something like that, and they just start tripping, and it's just wild. The visual presentation of this, the sound design, just some of the camera work, I mean, it's just completely wild, and it is a memorable experience. So yeah, Climax is pretty good. Next up, we got Enemy. Enemy, for me, it's an all-timer, man. I absolutely love Enemy. I've done a review for it on my channel. I think it's just fantastic. Denis Villeneuve is one of my all-time favorites. Jake Gyllenhaal is great in both roles, and I just love kind of the ambiguity of it all that it's not very clear. It's just a very sort of perplexing, mysterious type of a story and how it presents itself, and I just love it. It rewards multiple viewings. There's lots of little things and little clues that you really got to pay attention to pick up on, and there's some surrealness to it. There's symbolism stuff to it as well, and it's just a bizarre, trippy movie, but I love it. I think it's fantastic. So yeah, Enemies in the All-Timer. Next up is Free Fire. This was directed by Ben Wheatley, and I'm going to put this one in good. This is just kind of like an action thriller. It's like this drug deal goes bad, and the majority of it takes place in this warehouse, and it's one just gigantic shootout. And so there's not really much to the story or to the characters, but the action's fun. It's an enjoyable time. And there's not a whole lot about it that's like super memorable, but it's worth a watch. It's entertaining enough, and I enjoyed it. So it's going in the good category. Next, we got Uncut Gems. Uncut Gems, we're also sticking in the amazing category. Phenomenal movie. Maybe Adam Sandler's best performance. It's kind of a tie for me between this and Punch Drunk Love. But the Safdie brothers, man, look out for them. They've got 2 really solid films already. And this is one of the most like anxiety-inducing movies I think I've ever seen. This is coming from somebody who deals with anxiety on occasion. But man, I loved it. It's so good. It's just, again, the tension here is just insane. And his character and the way Adam Sandler portrays him is awesome. But his character is like, he keeps making so many crazy and terrible decisions, but like you never turn on him. Like you never are like, this guy's an idiot, I'm out. You never check out. You're still just like bought into it because the stakes and the intensity of it all are just cranked to 11. And this thing is just an anxiety-inducing ride, but it's pretty fantastic. A really shocking ending as well. But yeah, Uncut Gems, top notch. Really good stuff. Next up is Ghost Story. I believe that's what that one is. Anyway, that's the one with Rooney Mara and Casey Affleck. This one is, I'm going to put it in the good category. I like it. I think it does have some kind of interesting, thought-provoking ideas to it. It's not quite totally my flavor. There is some stuff in there that I'm just kind of like, what is that about? I mean, there's like a 10-minute scene where you're watching Rooney Mara like eat a piece of pie, and like that's it. And so some of this stuff, it feels a little like, I don't know if pretentious is the right word, but it's just like, what are we doing? And so there's some stuff in it like that you're just like, I don't know what the director's trying to do here. But there's some other stuff in it that's pretty interesting in terms of like, Casey Affleck dies, he becomes a ghost, and then he like haunts his, I can't remember if it's his wife or girlfriend or whatever, and it kind of really gives an interesting perspective on like kind of the passage of time, and it's like seeing people deal with grief, and it's just kind of told in a unique way. So I still liked it though, so it's going in the good section. Next up is Good Time, also by the Safdie brothers. We're going with amazing, and man, these guys know how to craft just a great thriller. Robert Pattinson, really, really good. And this is one, I think, yeah, I've only seen it once when it first came out. I really need to revisit this one because, again, just the similarities between that and Uncut Gems is just you've got really great lead characters who you just buy into, and they're these pretty kind of messed up people who make bad decisions, but the situations and the circumstances they get themselves in makes for a pretty thrilling watch. So yeah, Good Time, really good. Green Room. Let's see, where is Green Room gonna go? I'm gonna go Green Room in amazing. So I told you I like the majority of these guys. Yeah, Green Room, Jeremy Saulnier, or Saulnier, however you pronounce it. Also a really good one. It's a pretty small scope in terms of story. Just these like band members get trapped in this backstage room and during a concert by these neo-Nazis, and Patrick Stewart plays a really uncharacteristic or untypical character that he would typically play, but he does a really good job. Anton Yelchin, rest in peace, is in it. He's really solid as well. It's just another one that just good thrills, and it does have some horror to it as well. There's some gnarly gore, body horror, if memory serves me correct. But yeah, this is kind of those ones where it's not quite like a single location, but pretty close to a single location type movie, and Saulnier just ratchets up the thrills and the suspense and the tension pretty well, and yeah, it makes for a fun watch. So next up is Hereditary. It's an all-timer, man. And just talked about this in my last video too, talking about Ari Aster's movies. It's my favorite Ari Aster film. I think it's a near perfect film. There are a handful of sequences in this that I think are just like masterfully done. Obviously, Charlie's death with the decapitation, the scene where Toni Collette is chewing out Peter at the dinner table. Toni Collette, I could just go on and on and on for days about her performance. It's one of the very, very best I've ever seen. I mean, what else? It's just an incredible movie. I absolutely love it. So yeah, one of my all-time favorites. Next up is In Fabric, and In Fabric for me, I'm gonna put in okay. This is an interesting one because it's definitely more of an art house type movie, and I kind of appreciate the effort, the kind of the ambition of it. It's definitely different. I mean, it's about a haunted dress. And so it is pretty unique, but it just didn't quite come together for me. There's parts of it that I kind of liked, and the way the story's told, it's like you follow one character through like 2/3 of the movie, and then it just like drastically shifts to a completely different person. And so that was just kind of weird, and there's some interesting kind of artistic stuff here, but in the end, it's a haunted dress movie, and I just didn't really get a whole lot out of it. But yeah, I'm putting it in okay. Lamb. Oh boy, where do I put this? I feel like there should be a category. I don't know if I'd quite call it good. I'm gonna put it in okay. This is one, I'm glad I watched it. Not really something I would care to return to. It does have a pretty interesting and memorable ending, and it's about this husband and wife who really want a child, and they're unable to conceive, I believe, and then they somehow happen upon this like human sheep hybrid, and it becomes like their child, and not really a whole lot happens. It's kind of, it's pretty light on story, and so I don't know, there's just not a whole lot there that I really kind of connected with all that much. It is, again, like all these, and the reason for the most part why I love A24 is that, for better or for worse, you're usually going to get something pretty different, and this is definitely something different. So again, I appreciate the effort, but it just didn't really connect with me all that much. Next we got The Lighthouse, Robert Eggers. This one, all-timer. I really need to review this. This is my favorite movie of 2019, I think, when it came out. Some of the best performances I've seen, and man, I just absolutely love this thing. It's so good. It's so fun to watch. The atmosphere is fantastic. The black and white is amazing. And one of the things that Eggers just nails down so well in his movies is just authenticity. Like, each of his films have been set during a very particular time period. It's like a period piece, and he just nails it, just in terms of the setting and the location and the dialogue and the costuming and everything, and this is no exception. It's just a whole lot of fun. It's a descent into madness, and it's just an absolute blast of a ride. I love just how Defoe and Pattinson play off each other. The cinematography is wonderful. The sound design too, like the sound in this movie is like its own character. The sound is just fantastic, and the ending too is just a complete mind melter, and I love it. It's just really, really great, and I really need to do a full review for it on my channel. But yeah, next up is Locke, and this obviously isn't a horror movie, but it is, I think it's a dramatic thriller, and I think Locke is pretty great. Tom Hardy, I think, is one of the best right now. He's one of my favorites. And this is just such a fantastic story. And this is a one location dramatic thriller. And the whole thing takes place, he's in his car on his phone. And that's it. And it is riveting. He is trying to correct a mistake he made from his past, and it's just him in the car on his phone talking to his wife and I think a handful of other people as well. But when you got just a really solid script and a really great actor, it's all you need. And if you haven't seen Locke, I feel like it's kind of a hidden gem at this point, but man, it is just, it's really, really well done. And yeah, it's in the amazing tier. All right, next up is Ex Machina, and that's going to go in amazing for me. Alex Garland, one of the best working today, one of my favorites. And this one obviously deals with AI, and man, it's so good. Alicia Vikander in this is just fantastic. And this is another one that is kind of a smaller scope. The majority of it takes place just in one house. And man, it's genuinely mysterious, thrilling. Again, Vikander's her character, I mean, she's the robot, and man, it's such a well-constructed character within the story, because like you don't know whether or not to trust her or believe her, and it's just so good. She's got Donald Gleason's character just wrapped around her finger, but it's so much fun to watch it all play out, and it just has some really thought-provoking themes, and it's just really, really good. So yeah, Ex Machina, top-notch, amazing. Next is Saint Maud, and this is also going in the amazing category. And yeah, this was my favorite movie of 2021, I think. Whatever year it came out, 2 years ago, I think. This is Rose Glass, the director. This was her directorial debut. And my goodness, I've got my eye on her now. Can't wait. She's got a movie, I think, supposed to come out sometime later this year that I'm looking forward to. But anyways, Saint Maud is awesome. This is another religious-themed horror film that is just, I think, very thought-provoking. Has a really good lead performance by, I think her name's pronounced Morfydd Clark. I'm probably mispronouncing it, but either way, her performance is just really, really good. And again, I just love the religious themes. They're just interesting to me, and it just creates for such a kind of a complex narrative and a complex character. And the ending, whew, man, the ending is pretty great. I love Saint Maud. Next up is Men, and Men for me is, I feel like this was one of the most divisive movies of last year. I'm going to put Men in the good category. It's definitely preachy. It sort of feels a bit like it has an agenda, but if you can kind of get past that, I think that there's some stuff here to appreciate. I like, oh, what's her name? Jessie Buckley. She's good in it, and Rory Kinnear playing all the different characters is pretty solid as well. And again, I like the ambition here. It's got some kind of unique sort of symbolism and things like that, and some layers to it that if you really kind of look into, it kind of adds some more depth and stuff like that to the movie. And the ending is certainly memorable, not something I ever expected to see in a movie, and not something I will ever forget either. So yeah. Midsommar, all-timer. Also, just talked about it in my Ari Aster video. Love it. Florence Pugh's great. It's a gorgeous, beautiful film. I love just kind of the slow, drawn-out pace of it all. And the opening 15 minutes are really haunting and disturbing. The ending is fantastic. And it's just really, really good. Good characters. Really good and disturbing and mysterious and twisted story. Midsommar is an all-timer. Pearl is, let's see, amazing. Yeah, Pearl's really great. Mia Goth, I mean, what can I say? I reviewed this on my channel as well, so you want more thoughts, check it out. But yeah, last year, let's see, Mia Goth was my second favorite performance of last year, just below Rebecca Hall from Resurrection. But Pearl is phenomenal. This is a character-driven film, and Mia Goth just carries this thing. I love how it pairs with X, getting the backstory of Pearl's character and everything, and she's just everything. I mean, she makes the entire movie. Her performance alone is just really, really good. So that's why it's amazing. Next up is The Rover. And man, this is one I really need to rewatch. I haven't seen this in forever. I'm gonna put it in good just because my memory of it isn't all that great. But this is like, I feel like the first movie that Pattinson really showed that he had like legit acting chops. This might have been like the first movie he made when he was finished up with the Twilight films, to where you realize like, oh, okay, this guy's legit. This guy's good. And so I wish I could remember more about it than that. I do remember enjoying it, but this is one that I really need to rewatch. Killing of a Sacred Deer. Oh boy. This is a tough one for me. I really have no clue where to put this. Killing of a Sacred Deer, I'm going to put in okay. This is another one, too, I kind of would like to revisit, but this is one that I can honestly say I think it's a well-executed movie. I think Yorgos Lanthimos is very talented and skilled, and he executed this film exactly the way that he wanted to. It is such an awkward and uncomfortable watch that I appreciate it on one hand, and I do think it's well directed and it's good filmmaking on one hand, but on the other hand, it's just like a flavor that I just didn't quite enjoy, if that makes sense. So I would not by any means call it a bad movie. It's not a bad movie. It's just like it didn't really jive with my personal flavor. It's such an uncomfortable watch, and I understand that's the point, but yeah. I don't know what else to say other than that. So, next is Tusk. Oh, Tusk. Oh boy, where the heck do I put Tusk? You know what? I'm going to put it in the good category. Why not? It's certainly memorable. This is truly one of the most insane, just bonkers movies I've ever seen. And I'm kind of just still at a loss for words. I really don't even know what else to say about this. I like Justin Long. He's good. And I feel like the fact that Kevin Smith directed this is like so random. I know Kevin Smith's kind of started verging into horror a little bit. But yeah, who's the main dude too? The other guy, Michael something or other. He's good in it as well. But yeah, man, Tusk is... Whew, it's a weird one. I really don't even know what else to say. Next up is Under the Silver Lake. I'm going to put this one in okay. And I feel like there's a few of these that I just kind of need to rewatch. This is another one that is... It's just a weird one. And I feel like sometimes movies are so kind of out there and different in like a totally unexpected kind of a way, that like you kind of need a couple times to really sort of figure out if you're jiving with it or not. And this is like one of those movies that I didn't really jive with all that much, but it was sort of interesting and weird enough to where it's like I really would kind of like to give it another watch to get like a real concrete conclusion on where I stand on it. And so yeah, after my initial watch, it was okay. It is, again, it's another kind of weird, different one, and I really need to give it a rewatch to give you a solid conclusion on it. But for right now, it goes in okay. Under the Skin. Really good. Really good. Scarlett Johansson, probably her best performance. Jonathan Glazer. He's another guy. He hasn't made that many movies, but when he does, man, my goodness. He is just kind of in a different realm. So yeah, Under the Skin is such a... It has just such a unique presentation to it, as she is basically this alien observing humanity. The scene at the beach with the kid who goes missing in the water, man, is a very disturbing scene that I will not soon forget. But I just think there's a lot of kind of artistic merit to it. It's bizarre, it's weird, but I just jived with it. I love the way it presents and tells the story, and Scarlett Johansson's really good. The Witch is an all-timer. Eggers and Aster, man, I love them. The Witch is fantastic. Anya Taylor-Joy is really great. And this is another one. It's got the religious horror themes to it, and it's, yeah, I just love kind of what it says about that sort of religious oppression type of family structure, I guess, and how it can be so detrimental to family relationships, and how once you plant the seed of doubt, and it just, everything crumbles. And I think the scene where, I can't remember the younger kid's name, when he's like having his episode and just freaking out, is like some of the greatest child acting I've seen that I can remember. He's phenomenal in that scene. And the ending is so good. I love just the whole ending with the goat attack up to where she actually talks to Satan, and then you see the witch. It's just, man, it's so good. I love it. It's really, really great. X, amazing. I've also reviewed this on my channel. Mia Goth, again, I love the connection. Not really connection, but I just love how similar it is to Texas Chainsaw. Yeah, it's just a lot of fun. I love the time period. I think it's got great kills, a very unconventional killer, and it's just a whole lot of fun. Great slasher movie. Last but not least is High Life, which is another Pattinson movie, Robert Pattinson. This one for me was okay. Again, it's another one that, obviously, all of these, I feel like the ambition is pretty much off the charts, and for the most part, I quite enjoy it. This is another one. I appreciated the effort. It's got some nice visuals. Pattinson's pretty good, but I just didn't really jive with it. It didn't really add up to a whole lot for me. Just didn't really get much out of it. So those are my thoughts on the A24 horror movies. Thank you so much for watching. Hit me up down below. Let me know where I went right or where I went wrong. If you agree or disagree, would love to hear from you. So that's all I got for you. Like always, hit that subscribe button if you like videos like this. It's all horror and thriller movie content here on my channel. And I'll see you next time on The Haunted Beard.